And welcome into an abbreviated edition of the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave, cavetalkradio.com, and the Cave Talk Radio app, Apple CarPlay, and, of course, Facebook and YouTube Live. Gary Ayd, Rich Anselmo going till noon here, 11 to noon today on The Cave. Opening rant today. This is not super topical in terms of timeliness. We have been talking about Anthony Davis throughout the week on the show, and it does involve him. So, but it's not a particularly timely topic, but it's an interesting one. So, of course, last year the NBA did its top 75 players of all time, and if you recall, the way they did it was they took the top 50, rolled it over, and added 25. In the years since then. Of course, the top 50 was released in 97, which was the 50-year anniversary of the league, and this was the 75th. Me and my old partner did our own list. I never referenced the NBA's list. I made my own from scratch. What we did was we said you're either in or you're out for the top we did the top 55. We're either in or out, and then the bottom 55. And then the next 20 we ranked. Are you having a hard time hearing me?
No, I'm good.
I'm okay. You're playing with those headphones. I was like,
I can't get comfortable this morning.
Okay. Understood. So anyway, one of the players that was controversially left on the NBA's list was Anthony Davis, and Dwight Howard was left off. And there's a lot of people, another guy on this list that a lot of people had something to say about was Bill Walton. And I understand from the prism of the NBA, because this is the NBA's all-time list, where I could see an argument with why you wouldn't put Walton there. His career,
I can't, but okay.
His career was largely mired and limited by injury. Now, I understand the argument for him. Of course, when healthy, he was one of the very best of all time. I am a person who heavily prioritizes longevity and consistency over peak ability. Heavily in every sport. It's by far my number one consideration. Now, that said, Walton wouldn't have been the guy I would have bumped off. Howard needs to be on this list. Absolutely. It's crazy that he's not. And it's also equally crazy that Anthony Davis is there in his place.
Thank you.
Like, that's the correction.
This is why I hate lists.
Oh, I love lists. There's nothing more.
I hate them because they're just some people's dumb subjectivity. And I'm like,
well, that's what all opinion and talk radio ultimately is, right? Is subjectivity and opinion. And that's the most fun part of sports.
Yeah, but these lists are like, they put them out as the be all end all. And I'm like, no, it's just opinion.
Well, that's what makes it a good discussion, is that people's opinions are their reality. Perception is reality, right? So everyone's, opinion to them is their fact.
And that's what reality and everything.
And that's what makes the debates fun, because everyone is so convinced that they're right. That's what makes them interesting. But I mean, in my view, Dwight Howard is a far more accomplished. I mean, that's fairly objective fact. I mean, Howard is a far more accomplished player than Anthony Davis. Does Davis have certain skills that Howard never had? Absolutely. But you know what Howard was able to do for 15 years? Play. Davis has never had a stretch like Howard had from 2004 to, we'll say, 2011, where he was just the number one guy on a perennial contending team, made a finals. He never did that. Howard is, I think, one of the most underrated and underappreciated, that's more the word, underappreciated all-time greats we've ever had. This guy's going to retire with probably like 13,000 rebounds. He's going to be in the teens in rebounds or close to it. He's going to have well over 20,000 points, won like multiple, I think 4 defensive player of the years, a lot of shot blocking and rebounding titles. I mean, and let's not forget, he was by far the best player on a finals team, by far. I mean, like,
absolutely.
You could make an argument that other than LeBron's 07 Cavs, AI's 2001 Sixers, that there's never been a team in recent vintage that has gone that far with so little star power. I mean, it was
I don't know. They had Hito Turkoglu.
Yeah, Hito Turkoglu had his best year ever that year. Right. That's right. It was him and Rashard Lewis and Jameer Nelson. They were a good, solid team, but he was
never given his just due.
No, never.
And the fact that he had to go overseas is just...
Yeah, where's he playing now? Taiwan or something?
Yeah.
I mean, is he there for basketball or is he there, like, let's be honest? You know, Howard does have his excesses that he enjoys, and Taiwan is known for those. I'm just saying.
True. Very true.
And hell, you know what? Good for him. If that's what he's there for, go get him. It's fine with me.
Hey, he can do what he's supposed to be doing, and he could make a living.
Absolutely.
Get some cash. Fine. I don't begrudge anyone that.
No, definitely not.
But he should be doing it in the NBA.
Oh, no, there's no reason no one has signed him. So I'm just pulling up on Land of Basketball, Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis comparisons. So both have won championship. They won it together in 2020. Dwight Howard has played 18 NBA seasons. Now, of course, Davis is 11. Davis has made the playoffs 4 times. Howard 12. Both have 8 All-Star appearances. All NBA first team, 5 for Howard, 4 for Davis. All NBA teams overall, 8 for Howard, 4 for Davis. All defensive first team, 4 Howard, 2 Davis. All defensive teams, period, 5 for Howard, 4 for Davis. Defensive player of the year, I was wrong. It's 3 times, not 4 for Howard, none for Davis. 5-time rebounding leader, Howard, none for Davis. Davis does have a slight edge on blocks leaders. He's 3, Howard's 2. Davis is right now his career scoring average is much higher. It's probably closer than it will that ultimately when Davis ages and slows down. Of course, Howard has been affected by the last 8 years of his career being basically a role player. As it stands, is 23.8 for Davis and 15.7 for Howard. Howard was a 20-point scorer in his prime, a 20-plus point scorer.
Yes.
Rebounds, edge Howard by almost 2, 11.8 to 10.2. Assists, neither one big on that. Davis, though, the edge, 2.3 to 1.3. Davis, slight edge on steals, 1.4 to 0.9. And Davis, an edge on blocks, 2.3 to 1.8. Again, those numbers kind of deflated on Howard's side by, him playing out the string on his career. He has just under 20,000 points. This is what I was talking about. 14,627 rebounds for Dwight Howard. That's a whole mess of rebounds.
Davis would have to play 11 more seasons.
Yeah, he's nowhere close. He's not even halfway there. He's at 6,200 and change.
Well, honestly, has he really played 11 seasons? If you add them up, it's probably more like 7.
8, 8 seasons, right. So my point is, Dwight Howard was consistently a great player and available. Anthony Davis is a talented player, a statistically productive player, but not a great player, in my opinion. And so anyway, I saw this in a group a couple days ago. I thought it was an interesting conversation. Of course, everyone wanted to remove Walton. Well, not everyone. Some people said Walton. A lot of people came to Walton's defense and brought up Davis as the odd man out and putting Howard in. And, so it was a good conversation. And I said, you know what? I'm going to chime in on this. So there we have it. That's today's opening rant. Davis is like the point of our ire this week for some reason. It's just been a Davis week.
Quite honestly, if I did a top 100, I don't know if Davis would be in it.
Yeah, it's tough because
numbers.
What was that?
Numbers can be made to look a lot of different ways. I look at what people do in the clutch, and he gets awfully quiet at times. He shouldn't. I don't care if you score 30 in the first 3 quarters.
Yeah. For me, his failing on this list is more to do with his ability to consistently perform and have a long, sustained prime. That, to me, is almost the be-all and end-all of a great player in any sport is, can I look at year 12 and 13 and see a similar stat line as year 4 and 5? And that to me ultimately tells me you're great, because to put up all-star and better level numbers for 12 or 13 straight years is something that requires greatness. You
See,
know,
and I look at every situation individually. Walton absolutely did not do that, but it would not make me eliminate him
yeah, I mean, I
because of what he was when he was all
I
right.
understand that argument, and that's why I left Walton here, but I will say that if I was going to, because of course with a list like this, there's always people that you leave off that you could put on. There's always people you put on that you
Right.
could leave off. He's very, very, very close to that cutting room floor for me. Davis goes first. I'm not so sure that Walton wouldn't be my next cut.
He's farther away from it.
Yeah.
From that for me. But Davis, to me, when I look at someone that athletically gifted, with that ability to get up and down the floor and to move in space,
He should be better.
His rebound numbers are abysmal.
I agree. No, I agree. He should be
And
better.
it's not like he had someone next to him.
Yeah, no.
It's not like he played with Clint Capella, who went out and got 20 last night.
He played, here's the irony. He played with an old Dwight Howard, and they had to play Dwight Howard next to him to basically be Davis's bodyguard.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was pretty much his role. It was like, here, you go bang with everyone. Davis doesn't want to. He'll break a nail. Oh, that's funny. Oh, it's true. Yeah. No, I mean, so I leave Walton on here, but just barely. The longevity thing matters a lot to me. See, the thing that I think saves Walton also is he had all those years, mostly with the Clippers, where he really didn't have any health whatsoever. And then he got healthy for like a year and change and was like a great fit with the Celtics. Like, to me, that made a big difference in his career. That last act, it was a final reminder on the way out the door of a glimpse of what he was capable of. And I think that made a difference.
I agree. And what also stands out for me is he was the most complete player on the court for a championship, not just on his team. And he played a talented Sixers team.
Yeah, that was Dr. J. It was a Henry
McGinnis.
Bibby. Yep, McGinnis.
Yeah.
Was Alvin Gentry on that team? I think he was.
No.
Okay, no. Okay. No, it was Lionel Hollins. That's who I'm thinking of.
Yes.
Yeah, I always confuse
those slouch
two.
Either.
Yeah,
Hollins won it. Hollins was on Portland.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lionel Hollins. I always confuse Hollins and Gentry for some reason. I don't know why. It's like I do that with other people sometimes too. Like, I always confuse like Paul Goldschmidt and Josh Donaldson for a lot of years. Like I knew they both existed. I was like, so just confused.
Yeah, they're there.
So anyway, no, but it's an interesting thing. And Bill Walton is certainly a great player. See, where I really don't hear an argument is when I'll hear people say, why is Walton in the Hall of Fame? Well, I mean, it's the Basketball Hall of Fame, and he's, if not the greatest, he's a top 4 all-time great college player. I mean, the only people you could even put in his discussion are Kareem, Oscar Robertson, Pete Maravich, and like maybe Christian Laettner.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
very
the
true
whole list of people.
Very
of that
true.
Walton
goes 21 for 22 in a championship game.
Yeah, and
it's just
at UCLA. Isn't it?
Yeah.
It almost seems patently unfair that they went directly from Kareem to Bill Walton.
They had 1 year in between where they had Steve Patterson.
Oh, yes, because Kareem had to sit as a freshman because Walton had to sit as a freshman because of the no freshman rule. Right. Otherwise, it would have been a straight shot.
Right.
Oh,
that's ridiculous.
That's one of my favorite Larry Bird stories. It was he was at Indiana State. He had just gotten there and he had to sit out the transfer year, and so he was practicing against like the varsity, and the coach was like, Larry, can you like ease up on these guys a little bit? You can't play this year and you're going to ruin their confidence. He goes, Coach, I can't help it. They're just going to have to take their beating like a man. He's whipping up on the varsity. He's just absolutely toying with them. That's good stuff. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. Let's do our NFL picks next. Then we'll
let's blow through these.
Yeah, we'll get to those. Then we have, of course,
I've
the
got
top
a good
five.
top 5 for you.
All right, we got that, and we got last night's games. That's what's on track the rest of the way. It's the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on the Cave.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
All right, interesting conversation in the chats here. A guest said that Westbrook shouldn't be on there above Howard yet either, and I actually think that's a great comparison because actually I think Westbrook is exactly the guard version of Dwight Howard. I think they have almost identical credentials and careers. Howard, of course, a front court player. They're different players, but Westbrook was a great player on a finals team. He's been a perennial playoff performer. And I don't think he ever gets credit for this, but Westbrook took a absolutely pathetic Oklahoma City team to a 50-plus win season and a playoff berth in the loaded West in the year after Durant left. Average a triple-double, of course, that year and the subsequent 2 years, won the MVP that year. Like, this guy did some pretty historic stuff. Like, I know he's been a popular whipping boy here in the last couple of weeks, last couple of years, but this guy, let's not get it twisted. This guy did some pretty impressive stuff, and he did some historically unprecedented stuff. I mean, Oscar Robertson had done it one time in the first 60-something years of the NBA's history. This guy did it 3 times in a row. No one's done it since. Let's not pretend that that's nothing.
Something that may never be done again.
It's very possible. I mean, I think triple doubles are more common now than they ever were because you have more of these wing guys that are just multi-talented. But yeah, let's see
for
it
a
happen.
Game.
Right. Well, that's just it. A whole season, right?
They get 20 in a season. It's a great year.
Right. And I don't want to see like a Fat Lever type where he averages 12, 11, and 10. Let's not forget Westbrook averaged close to 30 while he was doing this.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even a light triple double. It was like 30, 11, and 12. Like it was like, yeah, it wasn't even close. So anyway, I think both of them should be on there. I absolutely think Westbrook deserves to be on there. All right, now let's get to the NFL. What do we got?
We have a 9:30 game Sunday. Seahawks in Tampa Bay in Berlin. You have.
All right.
I'll start it off. This is a tough trip for Tampa Bay.
It is.
It's a brutal trip for Seattle. I'm taking the Bucks.
This is so funny to me. Right, you've been on them and believing in them all year. I haven't, and for the first time, I'm taking the Seahawks.
I just think that's a long.
That is a long trip. When did they get in?
I don't know.
Yeah, because that
Vikings at Bills.
Vikings at Bills. I'm gonna go with the Vikings here. I actually think Josh Allen's injury is gonna play in this game, whether he plays or not. And I think the Bills are going to go through a little midseason swoon here before recovering. They'll be fine, but I got the Vikings in this one.
I do too. I don't think Allen's going to play. I talked to someone last night who said he's not practicing today as well. So Lions at Bears. Ugh.
Yucky.
For lack of anything, I'm going Bears.
Yeah, I just got to go with the Bears too, just because, well, it's the Lions.
Browns at Dolphins.
Browns at Dolphins. I think, let's see. I think I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
Okay, I did as well. Broncos at Titans. Not too tough.
No, I'm going to go with the Titans.
Yeah. Coming off a bye, Texans at Giants.
Texans at Giants. I got to go with the Giants here. I know the Texans have been sort of competitive in some games this year, but I got to go with the Giants here.
I think they'll be competitive in this one.
Yeah, I do too.
But I'm taking the Giants as well. Jaguars at Chiefs. No question who I'm taking.
We got the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah. Saints at Steelers.
This is an interesting one. This is a team, the Saints that I absolutely hate picking because I always get them wrong. I cannot predict this team. I despise them. So if I pick the Steelers, the Saints will win. If I pick the Saints, the Steelers will win. So whatever I say, go to the window and bet the opposite. You're guaranteed to win. But I'm taking the Steelers. So
I did too. Colts Raiders. The Colts are a tire fire. Do you know that Jeff Saturday he's luckier than a NASA astronaut. NASA has a roster of 43 astronauts that can go in space. There's only 32 NFL head coaches. How does this happen?
Well, it was stupid. And just remember, it's bad practice to look to Saturday for help on Sunday.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, no, the Colts are terrible. Who are they playing again?
Raiders.
They're terrible too.
Yeah, they're no parade winners themselves.
Who's home? Is it
Raiders?
Yeah, I'll go with the home team.
That's what I did too.
I hate picking them though. They've burned me more times this year than any team because I had like pretty consistent and patient faith with them, and they're awful. But the Colts are, like you said, they're a dumpster fire. So
they are. Cardinals at Rams.
This is another one. I'm gonna go one more time with the Rams. They're home. It's a must-win game for both of these teams. I don't love the pick. I think this game could go either way. Vegas agrees. It's only a 1.5 point spread in favor of the Rams, but they're home. I like them a little bit better, and I'm just going to go with them this one last time because I don't like the Cardinals. I'm going with the Rams with trepidation.
I feel the exact same way. I had both teams written down. The only reason I didn't cross out the Rams was because they're at home.
Yep.
Last 4:00 game, Cowboys and Packers.
Man, the Packers stink. They just lost to the Lions. Got to go with the Cowboys here. This game's going to be ugly. I'm surprised it's only a 4.5 point spread in favor of the road Cowboys. This game's going to get ugly. The Packers absolutely stink.
The Sunday night game, I have the Cowboys as well. The Sunday night game, Chargers at 49ers. I went back and forth on this.
This is a good game. Both of these teams are better than their record indicates, I think. Both have been at times awesome and at times lousy. I think the Niners figured something out before the bye with Christian McCaffrey. I think this is a dynamic offense now, and I'm going to go with the Niners at home. I'll even lay the points at -7, which is a pretty big home spread for a matchup of two good teams. But I'm going to go with the Niners. I'll even lay the points. I think the Niners win this game by 10 or more. I think this team figured something out. I think they're going to be a Super Bowl contender in that NFC. I really do.
I do as well. I took them as well.
Yeah.
And I like the Chargers a lot.
I do too. Yeah.
Monday night, Commanders at Eagles.
Oh.
Do you even have to ask who I took?
The Commies. No, you didn't take the Commies. Yeah, this is horrible. I mean, the Eagles, good for them. They're going to be 9-0. And it's been like weeks since they played anyone good, and good for them. Eagles
Hey.
got this easily.
Yeah,
11-point spread. That's it. That's all you can do.
You play. I think they beat the spread.
I do too. I do. Man. But you know what? This is another team, the commies, that have been hard for me. Like, they're 4-5 somehow.
It's a division game, and Taylor Heineke's played well. I
Yes.
think neither are going to matter on Monday night.
Agreed. We got the Eagles.
Yep. Okay, there you have it.
There you have it. By the way, I do want to say about last night's game while we have a moment.
Oh, yeah.
What a disaster. I mean, man, I struck out. It was
Everyone did.
over.
There was a lot of betting action on the Falcons.
Yes. I bet, if you remember, I bet a 2-pronged parlay, Falcons on the money line and the over. Well, the Falcons lost, and there was a total of 40 points scored, which was just under the 41.5.
I didn't get a chance to, and I'm really glad I didn't, because I had arena duty last night. So
there you go. All right, yeah. So I'm definitely going to be plugged in of these games. That Sunday night game, definitely the best game on the slate. I'll be watching that. I might watch some of the Rams Cardinals out of curiosity, because so much that's an important game. I'll definitely watch Bills and Vikings. And I'll probably watch Chiefs and Jaguars just for the quarterback play. I enjoy watching both those quarterbacks. And I might tune in for a little bit for Titans and Broncos just to watch Derrick Henry, because he's awesome.
Yeah. There are some good choices out there.
Yes, this is going to be a good week.
I'm really looking at NFC West. I am. The Rams, Cardinals, the Niners, Chargers, who are a favorite team of mine.
Yes.
There you have it.
There you go. So there's our NFL slate. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We will take a look at the top 5, and then we got games to look at, NBA games, and now we'll do it for the show. So back after this, top 5 next, the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
All right, we're back, and it's time for the top 5. Boom!
This is the moment
Yeah!
we've all been waiting for. It's time
Woo!
for King Talk Radio's top 5.
There we go. Always gets me fired up. What do we got?
Oh, me too. And I've been holding on to this, and I couldn't wait. I would have started the show with it. I wanted to do this so bad.
Oh, man.
With the recent passing of the great Fred Hickman.
Yes.
And also losing his partner, Nick Charles, not long ago. losing both very too young. Who are your top 5 all-time sports anchors?
Ooh, anchors. Okay. This is. I need more than 5 for this list. There's so many.
Yeah, I stopped at about 17.
Oh, there's so many. I mean, I think right out of the gate, see, Toby didn't want to miss this either. He knows. I think.
I wonder if I should have saved this one for another day.
Oh, no. This is great. Are you kidding me? I think I have to go with the very top. I have to go Chris Berman. I just have to. He is the personification of what a highlight is supposed to sound and feel like.
Yes.
He is absolutely like the textbook definition of a guy that just is like, his voice, his mannerisms, you look forward to it. And I mean, who doesn't love his nicknames? I know John Sterling is the nickname guy right now, and he does a good job with that too for the Yankees. But I'll just never forget. I'll tell a quick Boomer story. So I'm watching. This is like,
but he's really not an anchor, Sterling. So
no, he's not. No, he doesn't qualify on this list. But I'm just saying he does a good job with the nicknames. But
he does.
So I remember this is probably 15 or so years ago. I'm watching Sports Center, or maybe it was Baseball Tonight one night, and Boomer's hosting it. And it was probably Sports Center. It was probably the top 10 of the Sports Center top 10. And there was an old baseball player. I'm sure you remember him, outfielder for the Nationals, Ryan Longerhans. And he tried to make a play on a home run. I forget who hit the home run. It was at the wall, and it was one of those that like just barely made it over the wall type of home runs and left. And Boomer's doing the highlight, and it's like suspense. He goes, "Ryan, I wish I had longer Hans. Just I can't get there because he missed it by like an inch when he jumped at the wall." And it was just stuff like that. I remember that all these years later. So that was a good one.
Great.
I wish I had longer Hans. Oh, so good. Oh, so he's number 1. Beyond that, it's hard. I always thought John Anderson did a really good job. I always liked his work.
Yeah.
Of course.
I have Hickman on my list just because he's one of the OGs.
Yeah.
I have Stuart Scott.
I was gonna just say Stuart Scott. I was gonna say the late great Stuart Scott is definitely on my list.
Van Earl Wright, I considered.
Yep. Okay.
He's a good one.
You know who does a good job? He's not an ESPN guy, but I always thought that the main anchor for SNY, Gary Apple, is very, very good.
Oh yeah.
He's understated. But he's very, very sound. He just runs a good show.
His timing taking you through highlights is really good.
Yeah, no, he's very good. I like him a lot. Carl Ravitch, before he was a play-by-play man, was an excellent studio host. I liked him a lot. I've never been a fan of the jokesters, so I'm not like into the Keith Olbermans or the Scott Van Pelt crew. Like I'm not into like the D-rate comedian types. Those aren't my guys. Bob Lee was awesome. He was more of like a reporter type. He always felt like kind of like your dad telling you the truth. Like he wasn't, he didn't really feel like he was like excited about anything. He was just competent and trustworthy. He had a trust rating, I think, greater than any other anchor. Oh, I'm getting a vote here in the chats. I appreciate that.
I saw that. I read it. I said, Gary, who?
Who's that guy? What?
Who's
I've
he?
never heard of him before.
I also had on one of my lists Jared Greenberg.
Yeah, he does a good job. I like
on NBA TV. He does a solid job going through highlights.
I liked his predecessor Matt Weiner a lot.
Yes,
he was very good.
Also very good.
Also,
Vince Cellini did a great job there too.
Linda Cohn is a good one. Steve Levy, gotta throw Steve Levy.
Linda Cohn made my final 5 actually.
Yeah, she won't be on my top 5, but Steve Levy probably will be. Big fan of his. And it's not just because they went to Oswego, which is his alma mater. But I'm a big fan of Steve Levy.
Also Cohn. So
yeah, it is. No, Cohn and him and Al Roker. Those are the big 3 for us.
Yeah.
In Lakerland. But I'm a fan of Steve Levy's work a lot. Let's see, a couple others. I think Mike Greenberg does a very good job in that role.
He doesn't do it very often, though.
No, not anymore. At one point, he did it. It's not his role anymore. But at one point,
Yeah.
I always thought Greenberg, both doing Sports Center and doing radio, was maybe the best I've ever heard at the formatics of it. He was so good at getting to and out of breaks, writing and delivering great teases that kept you coming back. His energy and cadence with his voice were perfect. I just think from a technical perspective, Greenberg is a absolutely brilliant broadcaster.
I think he's the consummate pro.
Yes, I agree. See, Dan Patrick would be higher on my list if he didn't try so hard to be funny. So he loses points for me for that. I actually think of him more with NBC's football show than anything else that he's done, and he did a great job with that. But he loses points for me purely off of him trying to be funny and be off
He's
topic.
a great host. He's a great host on the in the talk show format too.
Yeah, but even with that,
Patrick really is.
He is.
I don't mind someone with a sense of humor.
He goes off topic too much for my taste. I'm very much more into the Mike Francesa style of right down the middle on topic as much as possible. And I think Colin Cowherd is the best at mixing in off topic and bringing it back to the ranch quickly. And I think he does that well. I think Patrick gets lost.
Let's
too
hold
much.
all that for another top five.
Yeah, no, we will. But I think Patrick gets a little lost too much. And he does that on anchoring too. So for that reason, I have him off my list. So I think my list is going to look like this. Chris Berman, number 1.
That's who I have.
I think I'm going to go Stuart Scott, number 2. I'm going to go with Steve Levy, number 3.
So far, I have all 3 of yours.
I'm going to go with Mike Greenberg at 4. And it's a toss-up for 5 for me. Now, does Ernie Johnson count as an anchor?
Not really.
Okay, because, I mean, the fact that he makes Charles Barkley and Shaq not kill each other, like, he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize at the very least.
He does.
So I just want to mention him just because it seems fair to do so.
That's another top 5.
That's a different
my last
category.
2, we have the same top 3. My last 2 were Hickman and Cohn. So
Okay, I'm going 4. I'm going with Greenberg. And 5 then is a toss-up. There's a couple of guys in there. Matt Weiner is in there. Carl Ravitch.
Weiner's very good.
Yeah, Carl Ravitch is in there, and also John Anderson. I think I'm going to go with Carl Ravitch. He had a gravitas to him. Brian Kenny was another one that was really good. Actually, you know what?
Yeah,
I'm going to go with Brian Kenny. That's who I'm going to go with.
He's on MLB now.
Yeah, no, I'm going Brian Kenny as my 5th.
And still very good.
Yeah, he's very, very good. Him and Carl Ravitch are like a toss-up for me. Both of them have like a... See, when I think of anchors, one of the first things I think about is, do I just intrinsically believe this person?
Yeah.
And both of them have that.
They do. They really do.
I just, if Brian Kenny's delivering it or Carl Ravitch, I just assume it's true.
And I had both of them on my preliminary list.
Yeah.
As well as Charlie Steiner, who I took to as an anchor.
Yeah, you always forget about that because he's been the Dodgers guy for so many years now. But yes, that's a good one. Yep. Ron Burgundy we get. Oh, man.
Well, we're not talking legendary here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and Cowherd doesn't qualify either. He's a talk show host. He's not an anchor necessarily. So that's why
we're going to do that list, though, one day.
Yep. No, I just replying to some of the comments here. Toby came back for the finale. So just for Toby's benefit here.
Who's Toby's number 1?
I think Toby is also a second vote for Gary Ayd. I'm pretty sure I'm number 1 on his list.
Okay. as you should be.
Yeah, I'm the choice for Toby. I told you he's not the smartest cat in the world. I mean, I always tell people that. So, hey, whatever. It's good to have fans. At least 2.
He's the most loyal.
That's right. Yeah, so there you go. Final wrap.
That is tough.
That's a tough one. It is. I mean, because there's so many good ones. But Boomer was an easy one for me. He, like the way John Madden is easily the greatest color commentator of all time, Boomer's in that class for anchors. There's nothing like Boomer. And there never will be. He's just a different cat.
I threw Hickman on there.
Okay. I like Fred Hickman.
Just because him and Charles and Vince Cellini back then
Mhm.
on CNN.
Yeah, it's a little before my time. But
Excuse me. They were our internet before there was one.
I remember Hickman with ESPN, and I remember him with NBA TV for a brief time too.
But those three guys were mainstays all on CNN.
You know who was
In
also
fact-
really good? Robin Roberts was excellent with the old NBA
Yes.
show. What they call it? It was like NBA Rewind or something like that. They would like feature an old player. It was really good.
Yes.
She was good at that.
And
Yeah.
that was always great for her because she was good with those kind of stories
Yes.
and news stories, which is why she's where she is now.
Yes. No, she did a very good job with that. It's a tough list. I mean, to me, the only two that were slam dunks to make this were Boomer and Stuart Scott. The others
They were
all
both
had
mine, too.
competitions. Yeah. They were awesome. So there we go.
But I was actually talking not long ago to Vince Cellini about that, about the CNN times. And I told him that same thing. I said, you guys were our internet before we had one. You brought stuff from everywhere.
Yeah. You know who was also very good? And I've become somewhat friendly with him. Not particularly close, but we chat every now and again, is Jay Crawford. I always liked him
Oh,
too.
really?
Yeah. Former guy with ESPN. He was there, of course, when it was called Cold Pizza in the morning.
Yeah. I remember that show well.
Yeah. And he's now an anchor in Cleveland, has been for a while. So but he's very good. So anyway, there you go. It's a good list. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up with some games. It's the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
All right, we're back. Last 15 or so minutes of the show. Gary Ayd, Rich, and Selmo. And what do we got today, Rich?
We had 4 NBA games last night.
All right.
Some more interesting than others. The best one of the night, Miami beat Charlotte in overtime, 117-112. Jimmy Butler busted out in the fourth quarter in OT. He had a 30-point, almost triple-double. He was just 2 assists away. He might have had it had he not just taken that game completely into his own hands. Philly lost to Atlanta, 105-94. Atlanta's 2 bigs played extremely well. Capella had 18 and 20 rebounds. Collins had 11 and a couple of clutch blocks. Embiid had his usual 26-13.
Yep.
But the two were just too much, and a nice night from Trae Young and DeJounte Murray led them in assists, believe it or not.
See,
Not scoring last night.
the game that you haven't gotten to yet, I'm sure you were going to, but man, Kyle Kuzma went crazy last night. Washington upset
Yes.
Dallas. No
Yes,
Bradley
he
Beal.
did.
No Kristaps Porzingis. And Kuzma goes nuts for 36 points. Leads them to an upset victory. What a performance from him.
I know. And for some reason, Doncic had 3 or 4 shots in that game that went halfway down and came out.
I hate
It's
that.
like the bucket was not his friend yesterday.
I mean, Rui Hachimura, the second-year pro, had a really good game off the bench for Washington, 23-8. In fact,
He's improving.
oh, he is. He is. In fact, the only other starter that did anything for Washington besides Kuzma was Avita, who got them 12 points, but he was just 4 of 13. Really, it was Kuzma and the bench that won this game for Washington. I mentioned Hachimura, but you also got 14 and 7 from Will Barton, along with 4 assists. He was 4 of 12, but he made 3 3-pointers. And then you had Gafford, who gave you 11 and 10 on just 3 shots. So the Wizards got, what is that, 48 points off their bench. It's a huge performance.
Gafford's a nice big off the bench.
50, actually. They have 2 for Goodwin. So they got an even 50 off their bench, which is about 40% of their points in this game came from their second unit.
Oh, yeah. In the last game, Portland took a win over New Orleans. Some real balance. I mean, they did not have Lillard. And still, Simons went for 23. Justice Winslow had 12 and 6 assists. Jeremy Grant went nuts with 27 and 8 rebounds, and he showed some serious handles. Josh Hart had 17. Nasir Little had 15 off the bench. Now, Zion had a nice night with 29, but they didn't get enough out of McCollum or Ingram, who were just in the low double digits.
You mentioned Justice Winslow. I don't know if there's ever been a player who's had a longer career with doing so little with so much opportunity that I've ever seen. Like, because it's not like he's one of these guys that like barely plays. Like everywhere he goes, he's in like the rotation. Sometimes he's even a starter, and he's just so unimpressive in every way.
I liked him when he was in Miami.
That was the closest he's been to being good.
He served a good role, but he did that here last night. 12 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists.
That's a solid game.
He gives you a lot of those when he can. I'm not like thrilled with him, but
He's just very vanilla to me.
he is.
Very vanilla. I another guy that was like that. Remember all the years that Rick Fox was a starter? He was another guy. He was just he eventually kind of became like a DN3 specialist with the Lakers, but like when he was a starter in Boston and they were like trying to like make him be a little bit more, but he always did have, Vanessa Williams on his arm, so that that you can forgive him for a lot of things with that.
We got 8 games tonight, a few good ones. Denver at Boston should be really good. I'm intrigued to see Cleveland at Golden State, and of course Detroit is in the Garden.
Yes.
The one local game. Sacramento at LA without LeBron, as he is injured.
Yep.
I got a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to run through all these hockey scores. I'm going to give you local stuff. Arizona beat the Islanders 2-0 in one of those what the hell just happened games. The Rangers didn't like losing their last game. They come out and demolish Detroit 8-2. New Jersey beat Ottawa in overtime 4-3. The Devils are now on an 8-game winning streak. And last night in Buffalo, Jack Eichel whomped on, stomped, beat, used, abused, and hurt the feelings of the Sabres. He had a hat trick and an assist, a 4-point night, and he taunted that crowd after every goal.
Okay. There we go.
Couple other things, if we can. LeBron made a comment that kind of interested me. A couple of comments that interested me. For the second one, I really do want your take on. The first one was that he defends Kyrie Irving. He says the reinstatement requirements are way too excessive. Phil Knight says they're not, and their relationship's probably done. Second thing LeBron said, and I get it because I saw him take a couple of hits in the last game. He says he needs to, quote, learn to flop.
I saw that.
With the way the NBA officiating is changing. And I really wanted your outlook on that.
Yeah, it's funny because I saw both of those comments. I actually have more of a take on the first one. The second one, the flopping one, this to me reminded me of Phil Jackson used to do this a lot. We've seen this with Pat Riley. A lot of coaches are experts at this. They'll say something like that publicly to put it in the subconscious of the collective officiating world. And then the next couple of games, they'll start getting some of those calls along those lines. I think LeBron is playing gamesmanship here. I think that's exactly what that is. And, great players and great coaches do that. That's part of the game. It absolutely is. If you're not doing that, then you're leaving an opportunity on the table. Like you could say it, shut up and dribble type of thing. But like the truth is, this is gamesmanship. This happens all the time. Yogi Berra used to talk to the umps and like chat them up about their families and stuff all the time. Of course, to make them like him so he get more favorable borderline calls. I mean, this is gamesmanship 101. That's exactly what this is. Nothing else.
And I loved it.
It's nothing else. That's all it is. The first comment though, I mean, look, LeBron kind of criticized Kyrie when the whole thing first happened, and now he's backing him. I think, in the last couple of years,
I think the criticism for what he said is deserved. Some is.
I think, I don't, but I
know free speech for everyone, no matter who you upset. I know, but
that's what free speech is.
Some comments are just meant not to be shared.
We didn't even say anything. All he did was share a link. I mean, he didn't even say anything about it.
Oh, I know, but it was enough.
Clearly, obviously it was, because the whole world lost their shit over it. But that's because the world's a bunch of idiots.
LeBron also said he doesn't want to waste a season, but options for change seem limited with that team. Yeah. Some people in LA are actually saying that they think the Lakers are waiting for Bradley Beal to request a trade. I don't think he's going to.
That's a stupid thing if they're doing that. I mean, I understand. I truly do understand not wanting to give up your last 2 draft picks for the for the rest of the decade for players like Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. I do understand that. I understand why they never made that trade.
But you did not say that before.
No, I mean, I wanted them to make that trade to the extent that it would help them, but I understand why they haven't. It is a lot to give up. Like, it would be one thing if they had most of their draft picks and they were trading those 2, but the fact that they'll have no chips to trade after this, like, this is their last shot, basically. So I understand the hesitancy with that trade. I think they should have pulled the trigger on the Donovan Mitchell thing. I think they had a chance to, and they didn't. I think they absolutely should pull the trigger if they can on Bradley Beal, but I agree with you. I don't think that's going to be an option. So
Beal has not been one to ask for trades.
No. And I mean, unless he wants out of there, Washington would be foolish to move him on.
Right.
Like I was going to say before we got sidetracked, as far as LeBron's comments on Kyrie the second time around, I think that it's very interesting. The last couple of years, LeBron has been a lot more two-sided on a lot of things. He's been a lot more measured than he had been in the previous couple of years. And I think that's interesting. So he kind of took both sides of this one, separated by a week or so. So I kind of like that. So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting if the Lakers end up making a move here, because see, to me, I would be more in favor of trading Davis than those draft picks.
I would too.
And I think you would get more too, because as much as we've been disappointed with Davis, he still has some value around the league.
He does.
And I think you
I
could
don't
get,
think it's as high as it used to be.
you could get a lot for him still, though. I think you could get,
Oh yeah, but
and maybe what you do, maybe they're not mutually exclusive. Maybe you trade Davis for a couple of first round picks and a piece, and then you flip a couple of those picks for another piece.
right.
But yeah, Pelinka's got to start making something. I'm tired of just talking about stuff. He's got to start doing something. Otherwise, because like the thing is, throwing away this season accomplishes nothing because you don't have the draft pick for this season. So like, who cares? So you may as well do something. So there you have it. All right. Well, Rick Tittle is next. We will be back Monday, 10 to noon. We will see you then. Enjoy football weekend. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.